I just felt like I needed to do a bit of an explanation of where I am right now. This isn't really a interview-based video. This isn't about music. This isn't really anything. It's just more about me, where I currently am right now mentally. And if that's not your bag, absolutely feel free to skip this video. But if you do stick around, I would really, it would mean a lot to me. So, just a little background on who I am. I am a 34-year-old, white, straight, American male with very leftist, democratic, liberal, socialist views. I feel that no one should be hated simply for being alive. I don't think people deserve to die just because they don't have enough money. I don't think the world is a better place with all of the atrocities of the world that's going on right now. And there's so much that I could go into politically or religiously or so many other things, but maybe in a different video. This one is basically just me trying to talk about my mental state right now, which for the last few weeks has been pretty decent. I'm honestly surprised that my mental state has not been worse than it's been lately, but over the last couple days, it's really deteriorated to where I'm feeling the way that I've been feeling over the past 9-10 months prior to this, pretty much from December 2021 when my dad died of various different things, from COVID to heart failure to diabetes and many other things. If you're not familiar with my backstory when it comes to my family, I have a series on YouTube called Something Gives with Josh Runquist, where several years back now I aired a lot of my grievances that I never spoke openly about that pertain to me personally. And yeah, it was airing a lot of dirty laundry for my personal life, but it was a lot of things I felt needed to get off my chest, as it was a lot of things I was hiding from the world for a long time. Not to say that I think I'm God's gift to anything, and, who am I to even think that people would want to know about my life story, but I did talk about a lot of my issues through that, and I do keep a kernel of that in my podcast where I do my weekly mental health check-in, which I'll be making the show for Heavy Debriefings Most Evil Halloween 11, which will be up early Monday morning. But the point I'm getting at is my mental state has been pretty run ragged right now. There's not a lot I'm happy with right now. There's things in my life that I should be really, really proud of that my mind is just not allowing me to be able to appreciate. I've done so many great interviews. I think I did hit the 850 mark already, which I thought is just incredible. I never thought someone like me would be able to pull something like that off. But I also just feel empty and hollow inside as I just look around here and just see the loneliness of a life that I live right now. I do feel alone, very lonely, and in a depressive state where I don't feel like I've been in a state of mind where I could really be okay and have it last. Really hurts. For anyone that doesn't know more on my backstory, I've been dealing with suicidal depression, high anxiety, childhood trauma, and PTSD pretty much my entire life, but I like to say that it started the day before my 12th birthday when my family fell apart. Again, all of this isn't something gives. I just want to give a short explanation of it. And from 2000 to 2022, 22 years, I've tried to commit suicide 9 times. Everything from trying to throw myself down a flight of stairs to taking a gun and doing what you would expect. Knives, suffocation. I was stopped all but one time, and that was the last time with a gun. Coming up on New Year's Eve, it'll be 9 years since that one happened, where the only thing that stopped me was not realizing my roommate at the time's gun did not have a bullet in it. That's the only thing that saved me. But in that time, I've been trying to do a lot of things to improve myself as well too. I live in Minnesota now. Living in Wisconsin, at least where I used to live, was absolutely horrible for my mental state. Even now here in Minnesota, I'm doing so much better than what I used to do, but I can also recognize all of the pain that I'm currently going through right now, which really, really hurts. Maybe even more so. Everything is just so off base, and not a lot of things make sense to me right now. I'm on medication. Sometimes it really works. Sometimes it makes it feel like I'm doing a lot worse. Therapy really didn't seem to be the option for me for so many reasons, but simplest explanation I can make in 2 points. One, my insurance does not cover me to be able to have a long-standing therapist. I only can have 5 sessions with one therapist before I get sent off to another one, which is not healthy. I basically have to be cured in 5 sessions, or else I get sent off to somebody else. And that's just not how therapy, in my opinion, should work. And also, from the therapy sessions that I do have, I think I do have all the tools of the trade that I need to be able to progress myself. The only problem is having the will to do it, which is getting harder and harder every year. Every year I feel like I'm a miserable failure, that I've just disappointed everyone who's ever loved me or cared about me. There's a small part of me that realizes that anyone that does think that I am a failure in their eyes shouldn't be a part of my life to begin with, and shouldn't be a part of my life now. And thankfully, people who have thought that way have passed away, so I don't really have to worry about that as much anymore. It's just more of the haunting memories from childhood trauma and PTSD. Even when I'm recording the podcast every week, or I'm playing a game, or just watching TV, or I'm in bed, I do get the occasional flashback, and it scares me to no end. And it's just becoming harder and harder to deal with. I will say one thing that has been really good over the last couple weeks now is having this webcam that you're watching me on right now, because it is making me feel like I'm doing better with what I'm doing. I know I do great interviews. That's not a question, but I know one of my biggest faults and things that I'm just simply not good at is being able to promote myself. I tag everything online. I try to promote it the best that I can, but up until last couple weeks, made no impression. Then all of a sudden I got this webcam, started doing more video interviews, which I'm enjoying enough, and making some side content as well. I mean, obviously stuff that's been treading water if you're following metal music and stuff, and I do plan on doing other stuff, and of course this video here, this is more spur of the moment, as just feeling so down on myself right now and just wanted to have a conversation, even if it's just one-sided, and then I'm just talking into a black microphone, staring into a black mirror. But the depression is real. I'm having a really, really hard go of it right now. And like I mentioned, ever since my dad died, which I didn't have a good relationship with my dad, especially at the end, and it was better that he was out of my life. But ever since that moment, I think I've just realized the finality of life and how soon life can be taken away from us. We could be gone at any moment. I could be gone by the time I'm recording this, just from an aneurysm or a heart attack or anything like that. I mean, hopefully that's not the case, but it's an existential crisis that didn't even hit me as hard when my brother died back in 2019. Of course, he was just a monster of a human being. And my dad, after my brother died, I found out some information about my dad that I realized that he was just as much, if not more, of a monster than my brother was. And realizing that I let people that did horrible things to me that you can hear about elsewhere, I let those people dictate my life. Things that I could have done with my life that I backtracked on because I didn't want to disappoint these people, because you're told that your family's everything. Nothing's more important than family. But when you're from a broken family, you realize at some point that family is the company you keep. And again, as I'm looking around here and realizing that I haven't seen any of my blood relatives since my brother's funeral. I wasn't invited to my dad's funeral. I had to find out about that one online. I wasn't even told about the funeral. That I haven't seen a friend or anyone that would consider me a friend in over 3 years now. The last time I saw anyone that ever considered me a friend was back in August 30th, 2019. Unfortunately, seeing Demons and Wizards, who I can't really support anymore because of John Schaefer, and obviously, if you know anything about the Eister situation and stuff like that, you know why. But that's the last time I saw anybody. And part of that has to do with the pandemic. Part of that has to do with me going shows less even at that time, just because I didn't feel wanted or welcomed. And of course, the big part of it is I don't think I even really have any friends. I have more than enough acquaintances. I have people who know me. I have people who love working with me. But my friend level is slim to none, and I think Slim's left town. There was one exception that would have happened back in August, but again, with my dad's funeral and deciding whether I should go to something I wasn't welcome to or not, pretty much put the kibosh on that. But also, that's like the only exception, and what would have been 3 years at the time. Still, it hurts. It really hurts. And I don't feel wanted. I don't know if the interviews or videos or podcast or album reviews or anything I do is meaningful to anybody, if anybody cares. Am I only doing it for myself? I mean, if I was only doing it for myself, I would just sit in silence and just check out the stuff on my own. I mean, the landscape has changed so much. I mean, when you got streaming sites that have taken over since the time that I started originally as that drummer guy back in 2011, you don't have to illegally download music anymore. You can just wait for the album to come out on Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube or whatever your platform of choice is. If you are so hard up on money, you can listen to all of that stuff for free if you wanted to, let alone pay like $10 a month or something like that to be able to get the premium versions without ads. The landscape has changed. And I do feel so grateful that there's so many great labels and PR and bands and musicians and other people who like the work that I do, at least enough, knowing that I will do the best that I can to be able to put on a good interview. And I try my damnedest to make it the best interview experience I possibly can, whether I'm talking to someone for 10 minutes or I'm talking to them for 2 hours. I want all that time to be meaningful because the music matters to me. The fact someone wants to sit down with me and be able to discuss something for no matter how long of a time length is just incredible to me. But it's also the sad realization that sometimes that's the only time I talk during the day because I have no one else to talk to. Just this mic I got, looking into a black mirror. I'm really hurting a lot. And my depression is just sinking further and further and further. I've tried sleeping tonight and it hasn't happened yet. I'm going to try it again after this goes up. I feel that it's important to have this up because I just want to show that I am a vulnerable guy. I care about what I do. I care about every single person that I talk to in an interview. I don't want to put out a shit interview. I don't want to do dirty laundry. I'm not looking for clickbait. There's so much negativity in my life, personally, let alone in the world. And being able to talk about new music that I'm actually enjoying is one of the only things that keeps me above ground or from being ashes. It gives me that reason to keep going because there's always going to be new music. There's always going to be new stuff to discover, whether it's new, brand new, or new to me. There's always going to be something. And it's also why in my reviews I don't review stuff I don't enjoy, because I don't need to put out any more negative stuff that is already out there. I don't know if I'm the last of a dying breed. I don't know if I'm just stupid for not shitting on everything just because other people are. Just having those takes so people will click on my video, write in the comments how wrong I am, and talk shit about me. Maybe I should, but that's not something I'm ever going to do. If you check out what I do, I want it to be something positive. Might get into some heavy territory, kind of like this video. And in the interviews, we've covered a lot of hard stuff, from depression and suicide and feeling like a failure as a musician and so many other things I've covered in around, if not 850 interviews now. But there's so much more positive as well too. Just talk about the fact that there is new music out there. People are enjoying new stuff. People are going to check out new tours, checking out new bands. All of these great things that really do mean a lot to me because I'm trusted to be able to help promote this stuff. And I'm just some homely, ugly motherfucker from Wisconsin that now lives in Minnesota, closer than I ever imagined to going to see shows and just having no desire to go because of, the pandemic from one, but also just feeling like I'm not wanted there, even if it's just in my head I feel that way, or there are people who just simply don't want me around. It can go a lot of different ways. But again, just the depression is real. I'm really feeling it right now, and I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but I'm tearing up pretty hard right now. You might hear it in my voice cracking and just trying to keep from crying uncontrollably, which I'll probably do as soon as I hit stop. But I just want to say that even though I've fallen into my depression again, and a lot of bad thoughts have entered my head tonight, which, if you can read context clues, that leads to a permanent solution to a problem that I would love to be able to solve before I'm gone, which is getting rid of this depression, getting rid of this anxiety, and leaving the past behind. And I really don't want to take a 10th attempt at my life. Man, I hope I don't fall that far again. But this year has really been pushing my limits when it comes to that. And I think it's just sheer will that I haven't done anything drastic like a 10th attempt. I just want to be okay. Whether one person sees this or this becomes my most popular video, I have no idea. But again, I just want to show that this is me. When I'm doing the interviews, that's me as well too. It's both sides of me. There's the side that's just so happy to be able to talk to someone about music and be able to have some great fucking discussions about life and music and everything. And then there's also this side too, when, Zoom or Skype is turned off and I'm just alone in my one-bedroom apartment, wondering if I'll ever get to see the lights in the darkness and be able to move towards those and see life for the beauty that it could be. I'm not there. I've fallen back in the darkness, and I've occasionally seen light when I'm feeling at rock bottom like I am right now. In all honesty, I'm very much feeling at rock bottom right now, and I can see some stepping stones sometimes to be able to grab onto those and try to pull myself up, but every time I just feel weaker, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to reach that next rung before I just completely stay at rock bottom for the rest of my life. But this also leads me to the last point that I wanted to try to make, is that I am going to be taking a sabbatical after I do my top 200 albums of 2022 on thatdrummerguy.com. I'm going to be taking the rest of December off and part in January. I try to do this every year because the holidays are the hardest time of year for me. I mean, anyone that deals with mental health issues or deals with a broken family completely knows why. It's rough for me. And it's rough for them as well. But I just want to take that time to try to recharge my batteries and go into 2023 trying to be better than I am right now. So you're not going to see a lot of things from me after I do my whole wrap up of everything, but if you do stick around, thank you. If you've made it this far, thank you. This has felt cathartic, but I am getting a lot of tears out right now, and my voice feels like it's pretty much gone. But I just wanted to show, I'm just a lonely guy. I'm a lonely guy that just wants to feel like I matter to somebody. Whether it's a band I've interviewed or someone checking out a band for the first time and just because of because of an interview that I've done, or someone in my personal life that just wants me to stick around. Because I'm having the hardest time right now trying to find that will for myself to stick around. But I'm going to try. This won't be the last year for me, but this is a feeling that I'm all too familiar with and something that I deal with all the time. It feels like the last 3 weeks were a fluke because I'm so used to being in this dark hole. In the last few weeks, I was able to see more of the light and the beauty of the world. And I've fallen back down, and I want to try to get back up again. And I really hope I will. But thank you for checking this out if you've made it this far. And if you're struggling as well, just look at me. If you can see the pain in my eyes, the tears that are coming down, the cracking in my voice, and just seeing how vulnerable I am right now, and you want to see me get better. That's how I feel about you as well. I don't want anyone to ever feel like this. Anybody. Dealing with your own mental hell is one of the worst things that anyone could go through. And I know physical pain shows the scars physically, but mental health pain can destroy you from the inside, and it's a battle that you have to fight alone and hope that people can be there on your side to help pick you up when you keep falling down. And one day I hope I can have a support team like that, whether it's friends or my own so-called family, people that I would consider family, or just find that will within myself. But before I ramble on anymore, just again, thank you very much for checking this out. Hope you'll enjoy the new interviews that are going to be coming up. There's a lot of stuff coming up in the pipeline. And of course, last week in November, the start of Heavy Debriefings top 200 albums of 2022 on metromica.com, and I'll probably do a video as well covering like a top 10 or 20 or something. We'll see when it gets closer. I'm going to try to rest up, and I hope that if you're struggling right now, you'll be able to find some way to be able to continue on, because I need to do that myself. Thank you.